Hi guys, so here we got this 42-inch LG TV with no backlight. I just turned it on and you see there's no backlight, but the picture is still there. I pressed the menu button and it shows audio here. So let's repair this thing. First, remove all the screws from the back cover. Remove the back cover, put it somewhere safe. Next, we will need to remove all these tapes, disconnect the T-con board, and then all the PCBs and the loudspeakers. That's the T-con board here underneath. Carefully flip these little locks and then pull out the flat cable. And unfortunately they put 4 tapes here, fabric tapes, and these we have to cut them open. They're actually not really needed. Then unscrew the front bezel. There are a couple of screws all around. Lift up, flip the TV over and then lift up the front bezel. Next thing is here these long PCBs. They have to be pulled out from their supports, these plastic supports, and unfortunately they are glued also on the edges. This has to be done very carefully to not damage these flat cables going to the LCD glass. So they should come loose like this one, and then you can remove, you can lift up the LCD glass. If you're uncomfortable doing this alone, you can do it with another person, but it's really not too difficult. And while they are very thin, they're actually pretty sturdy. this plastic frame here, remove it as well. This is held with clips. These sheets are held with tape as well. Lift them up and put them aside. And now we already see the LEDs with their diffusers. This reflector sheet here, the white sheet, the big one, needs to be removed as well. Remove these plastic spacers. Might be easier from the other side. So here now you could either, they're really not cheap, really not expensive. You could replace all these LED strips, gives the best result. Or if you want to go really cheap, you can replace single LEDs. Result is a little bit less than optimal, but this is what I'm gonna do. So first I'm gonna test and verify which LED is defective in this TV. These are 6-volt LEDs, and I'm applying voltage of about 42 volts. So the last strip here was defective. Now we need to find out which LED is defective. So we will apply about 5.2 volts. I will scratch the surface of this PCB. And this is how I can test the LEDs. So I found 2 defective LEDs here. I remove these 2 diffusers. And a little white washer-like thing underneath. Then I use a heat gun to remove the LED. Here, scratch a little bit from the to get to the copper trace, to expose the copper trace. And this will help me to solder the LEDs later on. I would actually prefer using a hot plate for that, but that would mean I need to remove the whole strip. And since it's glued with double-sided tape, I might damage the other LEDs. So I leave the LED strip in place and replace the LED right here. Here I use solder wick to clean up the solder pads. Use some alcohol to remove the excess flux. And these are the LEDs I used. That's the package 3535, and the larger pad is the anode here, and the smaller one the cathode. This is important, they are not all equal. I solder one side first, don't heat them up too much. And then the other side. And the scratch traces now, the copper, the exposed copper, it now helps us to actually bring the heat towards the LED. Now test the whole strip again, and all LEDs are working now. Now the hardest part is to place these diffusers, these lenses in the right position. This is really tough. So I'm using a little old diffuser sheet from another TV for that, and you see they're actually a little bit brighter than the old ones, these LEDs, and as long as it's not in the right position there will be some, looks like a halo around the lens. If this is not done right, it will be visible after we reassemble the TV. Would actually be nice, like I do here, to lower the current through just one LED to the new one, through the new one. I'm replacing a resistor here in parallel, but this is, it's not an option. It's not really a solution for the problem, because the current is varies, the average current. So this is it. Find the right position, glue the lens back on the PCB, and then reassemble the whole TV. Make sure the LCD glass is well positioned inside this plastic frame underneath, and put these two long small PCBs, narrow PCBs, back into their plastic holders. The front bezel and that's about it. Just put back the screws. Clip this metal strip back in place. Everything slowly and carefully, you don't want to break anything. Make sure this flat cable is in the right position before locking it. Now reassemble the PCBs and the speaker, except the power supply board. What we're gonna do with the power supply board is we will lower the peak LED current. You see here it can be up to 235 milliamps, the peak current. This is PWM controlled and comes from this connector, goes through this resistor, this transistor, and is then distributed through 8 resistors, and we will remove 2 of them. These are 4.3 ohm resistors. And what will happen with this is that the peak current is gonna be cut in half. So instead of 235, so this is what it looks like. Instead of 235, the peak current will only be about 120 milliamps. So even if now you put the backlight adjustment in the menu, you put it up to 100%, it's still only half of what it would have been before this modification. So here we see it 118 millivolts, and this corresponds to 118 milliamps. The backlight can actually be lowered to like 50%, and it's still really bright enough, and 50% adjustment here would be like a quarter of its maximum value after our modification. So this is it, guys. Thanks for watching and good luck with your repair.